Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order, welcome to Panwo TV, and welcome to this programme whose title I'm not going to call, I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, because I haven't seen this moron speak, if he is a moron. He sounds like one to me. Anyway, I'm heading to see Professor, what's his name, Joseph Uspensky, or whatever he's called, speak in London. So I'm going to head to London, meet up with Colin at the Shakespeare's Head pub, which is where, interesting, is where the David Icke discussion group used to meet. And I'm going to head for the event. And I'm making my alliances in this debate are as clear to see as if I was going to a football match and had my team colours on. I've got my Roswell 70 t-shirt on. I've got this. This is a new hat, actually. It was brought to me by Vivian, who is a friend of mine and who went to the Roswell 70 UFO event. She says Illuminati, and it says, Novus Ordos, Collectus, and then you see Illuminati. Don't trust anyone. We can trust a few people. So I'm just walking down this little street here, and already I can hear Matthew Williams going, Ben the Shaky Junior Porter, Ben the Shaky Porter, the Shaky JR Porter, waving his camera all over the place, not using a steady cam, doesn't bother to shave his neck. Well, that coming for you, Matthew, that's rich. This is a bloke who sits in his bedroom wearing a dirty t-shirt in front of cardboard boxes, feeding his dogs Pringles. And as for another complaint of yours is there's nothing interesting to see. He just shows us these suburban streets. Really, what's that? Look at that. Illuminati. They spelt it wrong, but that's obviously where the Illuminati live, in that house there. And the spelling mistake must be some sort of code to say they're the real thing. So that's my position clear there, I think. So Matthew, well, I'll see what I see. I might use some of that software you recommended, actually. See how you do as an experiment, see how it goes. You'll know if you're watching this whether I've used it or not, whether I can bother to use it this time or whether I'll use it next time. This hat's all right though, but I think I don't know. Does it make me look like a black man who's just put on white makeup? What do you reckon? Not sure. So anyway, we're going down this road now and heading for the coach stop, and then we're going to go and see Mr. Professor. Thinks conspiracy theories are losers. Conspiracy theorists are losers, eh? Does he? Really? Well, we'll see about that. I will, when I get in there, people immediately see that I'm here to cause not trouble but controversy, and I will be controversial. So look forward to that. Why? What's this event I'm going to go and see? Right, well, this event I'm on my way to see is this one. Conspiracy theories are for losers. Well, that puts me in my place, doesn't it? And it's this one. Americans have believed in conspiracy theories since before the United States united. A ceaseless array of conspiracy accusations have demonized witches, Freemasons, foreigners, redcoats, black helicopters, Mormons, Muslims, Jews, fifth columns, the government, and more recently Vladimir Putin. The common assumption is that conspiracy theories are nothing more than the delusions of paranoid minds trying to make sense of an ever more complicated world. However, the evidence tells a different story. This is the chap we're going to see, Professor Joseph Usinski. In this talk, Professor Joseph Usinski will show that conspiracy theories follow a strategic logic. They are tools used by the powerless to attack and defend against the powerful. Conspiracy theorists must conform to this logic or they will not be successful. In this way, conspiracy theories are for losers. Professor Usinski will highlight his analysis of more than 100 years of data taken from newspapers, surveys and the internet. The surprising findings address the following questions. Who believes in conspiracy theories and why? Why are some conspiracy theories more popular than others? What are the dangers of conspiracy theories? Are conspiracy theorists prone to violence? How did conspiracy theories affect the 2016 presidential election? What can conspiracy theories in the United States tell us about conspiracy theories in the United Kingdom? And this is the speaker. Joseph Usinski, if I pronounced that correctly, is Associate Professor of Political Science at the University of Miami in Coral Gables, Florida, and co-author of American Conspiracy Theories. Time for a book review, I think. Well, from what I've heard by reading this, I'm probably not going to get on with this smug bastard. I'll certainly be asking him some tough questions in the Q&A. Not that I'll use that kind of language when I address him. I will be polite. But seeing as I am a loser conspiracy theorist, I will want to just address what he has to say in a civil and respectful manner. I will just challenge him, and I won't know until I hear what he actually has to say, until I know what actual questions I'm going to ask. But I think I'll have to leave that until I actually get there. So if you care to accompany me, we shall proceed.
I'm on the coach now, getting close to London. I'm keeping my voice down so that it's crowded here, you see. But I am. Some buildings appearing. Getting close to London. I'm meeting Colin in the Shakespeare's Head, like I said. Got a good book to read. AD After Disclosure, Richard Donner, Price Stable. I thought that's pretty appropriate, really. I've got a couple of things with me as well. Along with my, I've got my map, and I've got my Oyster card, which I'll need. I brought something else with me I want to show you. That's my trusty pen camera. Now, I've used that before, and I'll use it again. I don't know how much I'll be able to get away with filming, or what I'll be able to do with the film once I've filmed it, whether I'll be able to upload it as part of this movie or not, I'm not sure. But I'm going to capture as much footage as I can. I don't know how accurate the framing will be, even like the problem I have with Mark Linus. But I'm
We will shortly be arriving at Hillingdon. Change here for London Underground Metropolitan Line to Wembley and the Piccadilly Line. Please remain seated until the coach stops.
But I thought it was worth recording it just in case this person says something when he's accusing us of being losers. So we're nearly in London. We're in London now. Just got to get through to central London. So shouldn't be long now. I'll arrive. I have time for a pint with Colin before the start of the event, I'm sure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you all know where this is kind of like little square here. That is Red Lion Square, and the Conway Hall is at the far end of that. And there's a Square Pig, which is an interesting name for a pub there. I'll have a drink there later. And I'm with Colin. Hi, Colin.
Hey.
How you doing?
Hey, all right.
Yeah, we're gonna. Funny thing is, I've been here a couple of times before. Conway Hall has a reputation for being avant-garde, a bit sort of like, what's it called, bohemian. The British Humanist Association meet there. It's trade unions, sort of that kind of place. You know, it's kind of like a I would say non-conformist, but it's kind of like a sort of left-wing non-conformist place, which is not, left-wing's not always non-conformists. But we're going to go up there to Conway Hall at the end there and go to the event. But Colin, who's this guy, this Dr. Kowalski or whatever his name is, we're going to go and see?
I don't know, all I know is that the name of the talk is about conspiracy theories are for losers.
Yeah.
So obviously that's why we're...
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole title, I mean, the thing is that the choice of title was his. I mean, I asked the organisers on the Facebook group, I said, why are you doing this conspiracy theories just for losers thing? Don't you think it's a bit insulting? And they said, no, it's the speaker's choice of title. So, well, that's why they did it.
We'll have to assess the situation, and he's from America, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from the University of Florida, University of Miami. The University of Miami in Florida. Funny thing is, University of Miami is where they have that sort of mutant rabies virus. So that's in my zombie. I was in my zombie videos, but that may be just a coincidence. But the thing about it is, like, sometimes they choose titles which are deliberately provocative. Some speakers will choose titles that are deliberately provocative just to get people bums on seats, basically, just to get bums on seats. and it may not be what it appears to be first. So I know I've been calling this guy a moron and stuff like that. I haven't heard what he has to say. I'm going to wait till I hear what he has to say first before I pass judgment. But I did think, considering the nature of the title and the blurb, I thought someone from the tinfoil hat brigade has to go along and fly the flag. That's what I thought. It has to be done, right? So I thought, well, if no one else is going to do it, I'll do it.
And you got no disguise today, Ben?
I'm going as my disguise. I am blatantly. I'm flying the flags openly. Roswell 70, Illuminati, trust no one. And you see there, underneath of my cap, Pete there. So now this is. I remember sitting in that little garden there actually, because in 2011 I came to.
Mine's got camera.
Yeah, was it?
No, mine's got that. You know the gardens bit where we went to, where they claim to have filmed the autopsy.
Oh, that place. Yeah, that's right. We were there, weren't we? But look, what's weird is right. It reminds me of that, doesn't it? But I came here in 2011 to one of the best conferences I've ever been to. It was like the British Humanist Association one-day conspiracy theory event in 2011. Now you know what, right? The BHA, they often hold events here. But they decided at the very last minute they were actually going to invite a real conspiracy theorist. It was Stephen Law, it's Dr. Stephen Law who actually organised it. I know Stephen Law, he's not a bad guy. But they brought along Chris French was there, Rob Brotherton, Dr. Karen Douglas, Jamie Bartlett, and what's his name, the other one? Yes, they were all there, but then someone said, well, should we have a real conspiracy theorist? They brought on Ian R. Crane. So the moment they said they were having Ian R. Crane there, we all went along to support him. And I'll tell you what, the Law was actually petrified. He thought, oh my God, it's going to be trouble. But I'll tell you what, there was not one bit of trouble. It was absolutely fantastic. Everybody loved it, everyone had a wonderful time. Yeah, it was really great fun. I wrote a review of it. It's on the Panmo. I'll put a link in the description box of that if I remember. But here, this is Conway Hall. And this is quite a famous place. It's been around for about 100. It's a Humanist Library and Archives. And
You've got
so,
a pub up there as well.
Oh God, there's pubs everywhere, aren't there? Around here? Humanist Library and Archives. And here we have this. Now there's a big main hall, where we had the BHA conspiracy theory. This is another conspiracy theory conference.
Maybe
It should be. Yeah, we can go in.
Okay.
So we're going to head on in.
This is a still from some of the footage I captured on the pen camera. Unfortunately, the quality is so poor that it's not one that's even worth uploading even a clip of. But as you can see here, there is a URL there, a YouTube page. And this is the page of a lecture by Professor Achinsky, which you can actually go to. And I'll put a link in the description box, as per her Panwo TV tradition, where you can actually watch Professor Achinsky talking about conspiracy theories. And there's plenty of other videos he's done, so you can follow him, find out more about him. It's better to, I think that's more interesting to watch than simply my own footage, because, as I said, the quality is no good. So check that out. It's worth doing that actually before you watch the rest of this particular video.
Well, we're out. Colin and I are out of this Professor Joseph Skinsky. That was not what I expected, was it?
No, it was alright, you know.
He was actually a nice guy. He was
quite clever with the title of his talk, actually. So.
I mean,
we didn't even ask any questions.
I know. I mean, I didn't ask any questions because the thing is that the question I had poised, because based on what the title of the talk was, he basically diffused instantly, because he said, yes, conspiracy theories are sometimes good and they can be true and they're essential to democracy. He said that, didn't he? And then
Are we going to risk it?
Oh, God, yeah. So where are we heading in anyway? We're heading for.
Sorry, the station, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. We're heading off. But what do you think of that, Colin? Do you think that was interesting?
Yeah, he was sort of the bit when he said about conspiracy theories for losers, he was really referring to the American voters. It seems to be that the opposite. So if the Republicans get in and the Democrats become who are the losers, they become the conspiracy theorists. And obviously, if the Democrats get in, then the Republicans become the losers, and are then the conspiracy theorists. So he was kind of being a bit clever there.
Yeah.
And but I know.
His point was, I think, conspiracy theories are a normal part of people's lives. There was even a guy in the Q&A who said that Marxism is a conspiracy theory, and I mean, he put together a pretty good point. But I mean, the thing is, like, maybe that's true. Maybe there is a bit of conspiracy theory in everyone, and me and you are just kind of like extreme examples. There's more than a bit. There's more of a kind. There's more of a kind of everything in us. We're not so much a bit of conspiracy theory in us. We're conspiracy theorists with a bit of something else in us.
Yeah, we've looked at everyone maybe, and whereas some people have only looked at maybe one or two, and maybe not.
There was a bit of an embarrassing situation because a guy turned up, a guy I know actually from the 9/11 Truth Movement. I mean, he didn't actually hear Professor Spinsky speak, but he turned up at the end and then started ranting, and I thought that wasn't fair.
Yeah.
I mean, he made some points, but
you can't really criticise if you haven't been to the lecture.
yeah, but he hadn't actually heard him speak. The thing is, if he'd heard him speak, he realised that that's not what the guy was saying. You got to give him a fair hearing.
The question, he was going for a statement.
Yeah, he was just sort of like ran. He just turned up. He did turn up to disrupt. I mean, that was just like
No one likes that.
I know that guy
who doesn't
actually.
ask a question,
Yeah.
you know.
I know that guy actually. I know him, and he's a good guy. I don't dislike him, and I agree with him as it happened. I agree with what he was saying. I even gave him a little round of applause. But then the MC said, "Well, who thinks he should have seen the lecture?" And I put my hand up because he should have done. He should have seen the actual speech.
Is it there, Holborn?
Oh, it's down there, this way.
Oh, this way.
All right, it's getting a bit noisy now, so I'm going to switch off the camera, and I'll say more later. I'll go home. I mean, I'll go home and I might do some more recording at home because I've got to go to the Basis Project conference tomorrow. So I've got to work first as well. So we're going to head off home now. So all in all, an interesting and surprisingly good event.
Yeah.
That blue one there. Got to get to Green Park. Holborn now, so you've got to change at Green Park for the Victoria line. Going underground, la 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 la, going underground.
Covent Garden.
Right, well, I'm home. And I don't really have an awful lot more to add to what I've already said. It's a fairly straightforward kind of issue here, but I'm sure it's an interesting lesson, I think, that we have to take note of, and that is to always listen before we decide. I entered into this endeavour not particularly liking Professor Chinsky based on just simply what I read on the 14 Times page, which was introducing his speech. Conspiracy theories are for losers. Well, to be honest, he's deliberately chosen a very, very provocative title. I actually went on to the 14 Times Facebook group and I made this point. I said, look, this is not very respectful what you're doing here. And the guy who runs the show, he came back to me and he said, look, this is the speaker's choice. They wanted that title. So it's obviously meant to be provocative, and so Professor Chinsky is going to get this kind of response occasionally. But it is an incorrect response. It's a prejudgment. I listened to what he has to say. I mean, I went along there basically just to fly the conspiracy theory flag. I thought somebody should. This is why I dressed the way I did. This is why I walked in there with my hat and my Roswell t-shirt and all my stuff about the Illuminati to say, look, I'm a conspiracy theorist and I'm here, you know, to actually sit and listen to what you have to say, and if you give us a hard time, I'm going to give you a hard time back. That's why I did it. But actually, having listened to him, I see him differently now. I think he's actually a very reasonable man. He said some very sensible things. He said, firstly, he said up to 25% of people generally in the Western world believe in some form of conspiracy theory. I mean, it depends how you define it. I mean, if you under some definitions, that's up to 50 or more than 50%. As I said, there was a guy in the audience who says, "Is Marxism a conspiracy theory?" It talks about capitalism and the capitalist class, gathering surplus value from the proletariat, and obviously they use it's a conspiracy for them to do that. I don't think. I don't know. That's probably not going to be popular with Marxists, but he made a good point, and Achinsky gave him a good response. So I went there to show the flag, and I came out seeing things, quite liking the guy. I mean, he seemed quite a nice chap. And he admitted, conspiracy theories he understands that conspiracy theories are something inevitable. They're something natural. They're something that everybody will engage in because of human psychology. And he also said that in no way was he making any statement on the factual reality or unreality of any particular conspiracy theory. And he didn't throughout his entire lecture. His lecture wasn't about that. I mean, he's the kind of thing, it's quite possible, based on what he said, that he believes everything that I do. And he just didn't say it. It's the kind of lecture I could have given without being a hypocrite, without lying. And he admitted that he has conspiracy theories too. He said he believes that under the Obama administration, the Internal Revenue System, Internal Revenue Service, which is like the tax office, the same as the Inland Revenue of Britain, actually did try to commit acts of illegal taxation on people who were registered Republicans. Now, see, he did say in his lecture, that party politics in America is more than just simply voting; it's like a partisan thing. And that he said that the IRS actually did that, and actually tried to tax Republicans more. That's a conspiracy theory that he believes in. I mean, I've looked at these things before. I'll put a link in the description box to an article I wrote on conspiracy theory opinion polls, which is really quite remarkable because there's a large number of people. I mean, these opinion polls show that a large proportion of people believe in various conspiracy theories, depending on what it is, and depending on how the conspiracy theory proposal is worded. But in the case of John F. Kennedy, it's more than 50%. It's always been more than 50% in the case that JFK was actually shot by a conspiracy. With 9/11, it's depending on what kind of conspiracy theory you go to. If you just say the government lied about 9/11, then it can be as high as 40%. If you start and be more specific, like the government orchestrated the 9/11 attacks, it comes down a bit. But things like the moon landings, up to 9% of Americans doubt the moon landings, for instance, and they claim they were hoaxed. I mean, he mentions Whoopi Goldberg in his speech saying that, and there's a couple of other famous people. There's a lot of celebrities who profess conspiracy theories, including actors and actresses like Woody Harrelson. Mel Gibson is very, very. He's very well known for being conspiratorial. Interestingly, if you've ever watched the film Conspiracy Theory by Richard Donner, there's the opening title scene where Mel Gibson's character, he's driving along in a taxi and he's lecturing conspiracy theories to his passengers. That was not originally scripted. That was ad-libbed by Gibson, and they did during rehearsals, and they decided to include it in the movie. Achinsky is open. He not only says that he believes the conspiracy theories are inevitable, he actually believes they can be positive. He believes they can do good. In fact, he actually said that the conspiracy theories are actually essential for a functioning democracy. He said people didn't believe in them, or if some people didn't believe in some conspiracy theories, then a free society couldn't function. It couldn't work. And we'd slide into tyranny. So the guy in the audience, I know who it is, I'm not going to name him, but he's a member of the 9/11 Truth Movement who I know. He came along during the break and he took his place just during the Q&A, and he put his hand up and he made this silly comment about, well, it wasn't a silly comment, I mean it was right, I even gave him a round of applause, but it was misrepresentative of the speaker. He said, oh yeah, it's easy to say we're losers, you're always a loser if you go up against the mainstream. This is not what Achinsky was saying. So this guy wasn't there to hear his talk. If he had been, he might have had a different idea. So I'll put a link in the description box of this particular article, but I'll just I'll just find it about. I'll just look it up for you because it gives an opinion polls. Yeah, I should have put this up before, but I'll tell you what. It's basically every so often the powers that be, whatever you call them, they actually do have a kind of opinion poll, asking just ordinary people about conspiracy. What do you think of conspiracy theories, etc., etc. And then there's a lot of and they'll go through various things. They just sort of like gauge the rising and falling of conspiracy theory belief, and it's really quite remarkable. Here we go. I'll put this article in the description box, but it's basically USA conspiracy theory poll. 21% of people believe the Roswell incident was a crashing of an extraterrestrial vehicle. That's good. There's almost a perfect demographic cross-section, young and old, black and white, rich and poor. There's a slight difference when it comes to voting habits. Like I say, and this is what Ochinsky said, depending on what kind of conspiracy theory it is, Republicans are more likely to believe in conspiracy theories than Democrats. The exception being the lies told by the government to justify the Iraq War. 72% of Obama supporters agree that Bush lied about WMD, whereas only 13% who vote for the GOP. And as Skinsky was saying, that there was partisan politics is a big part of this. People will be biased in favour of their own political beliefs when it comes to conspiracy theories. So you're more likely to believe, like the birth certificate thing. Very few Obama supporters believe that he faked his birth certificate, but dozens of percent of his opponents do. And this pattern follows with things like Pizzagate and the Russian hacking scandal, etc. So this is true. I accept all this. It does not mean that any conspiracy theory is not true. And as I was going to make the point, that conspiracy theories have been proved right every day. And until Ochinsky did it, then Ochinsky did it himself. He says yes, conspiracy theories are often proved right. He talks about the two guys who got together to expose the break-in at the Watergate Hotel, who did it privately in their own time and were technically conspiracy theorists. Yeah, they were proved right, and of course then President Nixon had to resign, and a conspiracy theory was proved true and now became the Watergate scandal, which is a part of history. The same could be said of other things. The Hillsborough disaster is a perfect example. It took over 20 years. But the conspiracy theorists, like me and many others, including the Liverpool fans and the people who want justice for the 96, etc., they were saying from the outset that the inquest lied, that the inquest was a cover-up, that the police covered up, and the local authorities and the Football Association covered up their own culpable neglect, which led to that terrible disaster. Almost 100 people died, almost 1,000 were injured. And now it's all come out. And I mean, the former chief constable of the South Yorkshire Police, he's looking at doing time. I mean, he's shaming they didn't catch him at the beginning and lock him up then. And what these polls show, I think, is very, very interesting, if you consider that 21% of people believe the Roswell incident was the crashing of an extraterrestrial vehicle. And 51% of Americans believe that President Kennedy was killed by an organised assassination. But you don't get that proportion of people actually making videos like mine. This shows something very interesting. What it shows is that people like me, the outspoken conspiracy theorists in the sense that we talk openly about it and profess our views publicly and make it a part of our activism, are a very small vocal tip of a very large silent iceberg. And the challenge maybe in terms of people like us, the people who want to make these videos, is not so much education but inspiration. It's not, we don't really need perhaps so much to educate other people, the normies, the general public, whatever you choose to call them. I don't use words like sheeple, that's derogatory. Whatever words you choose to call people who are not conspiracy theorists, maybe rather than educating, just you need to encourage them to join you in being a tinfoil hat wearing loony. Because I mean, it's only when a certain number of people a certain minority of people actually speak out like this, that we can be dismissed in such a derisory manner. So the more of us there are, the easier it gets. So I want to thank Professor Izchinsky for coming all the way from Miami, USA to do his speech at the Fortean Society. I want to thank the organisers, the Fortean Society and the Conway Hall in London, and of course Colin for coming with my good friend Colin for accompanying me and discussing certain subjects with me. I really appreciate that, and it's been great fun. And thank you for watching. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order.
Thank you.